What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Coffee and Headphones. My name is Caleb,
My name is Trevor.
and this is a podcast where brothers talk about brother things. And Trevor, the day is here. The time has come. The Denver Nuggets are your 2023 NBA champions. How does it feel?
It feels amazing. I told you, I told all of you, all freaking year. Oh my word, bro. To every analyst out there, I like to say, screw you, you suck. You were not on the Nuggets all year, and now you're talking about a dynasty. Shut up. Let them enjoy it, and then we'll go from there. Um, to all my Nuggets fans across the world, I'm so happy for you. Uh, uh, Everyone deserved this. They played amazing all season, held number one in the West pretty much all year. And they did not disappoint when the moment came. So I'm happy. I shed some tears. Watching Jamal cry was crazy, bro. And then Jokic did Jokic things. My man was like, "Cool, here's my family. We did it. Let's move on." So
Move on. And they
yeah,
did.
it feels amazing.
Man, it it was a weird series, you know?
Yeah,
It was a 5 game series in the end, which I did not predict correctly. Neither did you. But a lot of people did. But it was still a very competitive series. And it's weird because besides game one, really, every game kind of felt like it could have went either way for the majority of it. And for the last 3 games, the Nuggets came back from double digits and outscored the Heat in the second half, you know? And a lot of that was due to the defense of Aaron Gordon, mainly, the defense of MPJ, KCP, all these guys that you talked about throughout the season. Um, all these guys that we've talked about, even since the playoffs have started, about them either being stepping up in their role or maybe taking a step back, but they all stepped up when it mattered the most. And MPJ, low key, is the story of game five. That man kept doing it. What was it, 13 rebounds in the end?
13 rebounds, career high.
Is that a
Um,
career high?
it's a career
Wow.
high. Yep.
Yeah, and
So
a few assists too. I mean, it was passing too. And he was your only guy who made multiple threes. He was out there. He obviously shot the ball very poorly the whole series, but in game
yes.
five, he went to work early in the paint. And this is something that I tell Ariana whenever I practice with her. Like the good players, the best players, the Steph Currys of the world, they start Zach Levine. They start with making their shots next to the goal and then slowly back up. And MPJ
Hmm.
put that into practice in the finals when it mattered the most. And he finally started making his threes.
That was very timely. Very happy. But this is something that all of them have been doing all year, bro. Like it's not. This is nothing new. Like KCP, late fourth quarter defense. That's nothing new. Um, AG stepping up and guarding big players at big times, and then scoring when needed. That's nothing new. Jokic doing Jokic things, and Jamal scoring whenever it's needed. Jamal passing well. I will say I feel like Jamal played great all year, even like when he was getting back into it, where they wouldn't let him play back to backs. He was still playing really good, and I feel like he peaked at the right moment this year. I don't want to call him like a playoff player like Bubble Murray because he is just that good. And you guys are going to see it next year at the start of the season. He's still going to be playing like this, if not better. But coming off an injury like that, it's really impressive to me what he was able to do. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, MPJ did what he's paid to do. So good for him. I'm happy. Like I love MPJ, but sort of frustrating because we literally paid him so much money just to stand there and make threes. So he finally did that when it counted. And it was refreshing to see. But I mean, I don't even want to say finally did that because he's been doing it all like
Yeah,
season and all
he's
playoffs.
one of the
But
best
like
catch and shoot players
in
in the
this
NBA.
particular series, he finally started to do it. in game 5. But
Yeah. Also, like we've talked about before, I don't know if we've talked about this on the podcast. I think we have, but MPJ is underutilized as a catch and shoot guy. I think at least yeah, he could do more, but I don't think any of that should matter right now. The money is irrelevant. You won the championship with this group, and you have them for
and
the
we have them
foreseeable
all
future.
back next year. So
Yeah, I think we were
um
going through the contracts last night. Your core four are signed through 2026, right? When AG's contract is up. So 3 years.
I don't think AG's contract's up first. I think it's Jamal's
I think they both expire in 2026.
2026. And then Jokic is 2027,
Mhm.
2028 season. Um yeah. I mean, those three are really the most important part of our team, I would say. But I really want KCP back. He does have like a player option, I think. Um, I want Bruce Brown back really, really bad. And I think if we could get those two to stay for a couple of years, who knows?
Yeah.
Um,
Bruce
but
Brown's
yeah,
gonna be the hard ask. I know he says he wants to be there, but whenever you get that $6 million contract compared to a $22 million
hey,
contract, what are you gonna do?
you're gonna do what Messi did. Messi turned down $1 billion from the Saudis to play at Inter Miami. So
He
that's
did,
exactly what Bruce Brown should do.
but
Tiger turned down
Messi
$800
didn't.
million from Live Golf to play in the PGA.
That's not the
But
same thing though. These are leagues
but
and
they
living
turned down the
circumstances.
they
It's
turned
not
down the money.
contending for a championship in the same way though. It just matters if Bruce Brown wants to stay and contend or if another contender can pay him more, really. Because I don't think he'll do like a Della Dova or whatever his name is. I always forget where he was okay in the finals and then he got paid so much money from the Bucks when they weren't really a competitive team. I don't see Bruce Brown doing that where he like goes away just to make more money, but I do think if he could stay in a competitive circumstance and make a little bit more, probably will, especially because the way that NBA players and professional athletes are taxed in Denver is a little bit higher than average.
In our reality, though,
But
hopefully
most people in Denver are higher than average.
I hate you. That's so dumb. Hopefully, there's some loyalty there because no other team would give Bruce Brown that shot.
It's weird.
Um, Incredibly weird. But I mean, there's so much talent to go around. There's
Yeah.
guys in the G League that should be starting in the NBA, bro. That's just like how it goes. It's luck, circumstance, hard work, talent, all of it combined that gets you
Reputation.
there. Um, yeah, reputation, and I mean, really, like I hope loyalty and the fact that that group is so good to work with, from what it seems like on the outside looking in, from everything they say, and obviously getting the first championship in 47 years of a franchise. Um, that why would we not believe them when they say it's the best team they ever played for?
Yeah, no, for sure. And a lot of vets picked up their first championship playing for this team, or at least
Ish
sitting on the
Smith,
bench. Ish
good
Smith,
job,
shout
Ish.
out Ish
I'm so
Smith.
happy for you, bro.
13 teams made it halfway through the league before he got his. He's probably gone. Um,
Jeff Green
yeah, I would assume Jeff Green got his, DeAndre Jordan got his
before Chris Paul.
before Chris
um,
Paul.
yeah, Reggie Jackson,
Reggie Jackson. Yeah. Which
Thomas
I
Bryant for
totally
some
forgot
reason.
Reggie Jackson was on your team.
Yeah,
Thomas Bryant is a funny case because he asked to be traded away from the Lakers because he wanted to play more. Um, and he played less, but I guess he did what he needed to, and now he's a champion.
uh, yeah. I mean, Mike Malone's best coach in the NBA. One of. I mean,
Best coach with the most talent.
they develop that talent.
Yeah, but if Spoelstra was coaching the Nuggets, they'd also win a championship.
I agree.
Yeah, so I definitely think Mike Malone is up there
But
now.
Spoelstra wouldn't have had the patience to keep those guys around for that long.
What do you mean?
The only guy he's kept around is UD.
That's not true.
Where's Tyler Johnson and all those guys?
They're not as
James
good as
Johnson.
Jamal Murray.
Where's Hassan Whiteside? Where are all of them? They didn't develop them correctly,
He
and now they're
developed
gone.
Hassan Whiteside into a two-time All-Star.
And into overseas league. But that's neither here nor
It's
there.
not Spose. That's not on Spo.
That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about how Mike Malone's better than Spoelstra.
He's not, though.
Yes.
He's not. If Mike Malone would have coached the Heat this year, do they make it to the finals?
Yeah, they do. Because that's not on Spo. That's on Jimmy.
Let's talk about Jimmy and the Heat for a bit.
I love Jimmy. Respect to Jimmy. Jimmy deserves all the credit. People need to not hate on Jimmy. Yeah, with that being said, very untimely turnover.
He had a rough go. Terrible shooting night, especially in the first half. He caught fire in the fourth, 13 points in the fourth, but it was a little too late. Bad turnover. Didn't have a passing lane there. KCP took that. And like I mentioned to you privately, that was a very Jimmy Butler type steal from KCP. Just playing that passing lane, kind of predicting what would happen there. He saw that Jimmy was in a tough spot. Didn't feel like throwing up a fadeaway from the top of the paint. I think he
may have been the right move, but also the other players on the court should have been cutting.
Should have cut to it.
Screens,
I thought
all that.
There was 3 possessions where I thought Max Strus could have, you always hear step to the ball, step to the ball, step to the ball. There was 2 that ended up being a turnover and one where the Heat retained it. But I think there were 3 possessions in game 5 where I was like, Max Strus needs to step to the ball. There was one from Kyle Lowry who got kind of cornered. And I think it was an offensive rebound, actually. He got the ball and then was kind of cornered in there and tried to kick it out. And it just kind of bounced past Max Strus. I played with a guy in high school. His name was Josh, where like the same thing happened. We got the ball back and it started to like bounce towards him. He was the only guy there. And he literally just watched it roll out of bounds. That was exactly what Max Strus did. So that was tough. But other than that, like I think the Heat role players they outdid themselves in the playoffs. That's not
they just burnt out at the finals.
Yeah,
bro.
let's not forget they were worn down by a very, very, very good defense. At least like in the playoffs, I know they were top 15 in 2023. So at least they were like respectable from defense, but the Nuggets turned it up in the playoffs a lot.
What I want to know though is obviously it's part of the game, but like as a role player, are you supposed to talk all that trash and then go into the finals and suck? Like just as a whole, the Heat team and their mentality and their edginess, which I don't mind.
I think so. Like I think if they don't have that, they're not in the finals. I think that gets them going.
I understand running out of gas. Like they, like you said, exceeded what most people expected. I didn't have them winning like the Eastern Conference at all, but also it wasn't like so far removed from my mind that I was like, oh, this isn't gonna happen ever. Like it's Jimmy Butler and the Heat. Like it could have happened and it did. But how are you gonna go from I think they lost the finals earlier than the finals even started. I think they lost it by going to 7 with the Celtics.
Boston, yeah.
They burnt themselves out without closing that game, without closing it out in 4 or 5. They did. And I think
even game 6 that Derek White tip in, um,
The-
where
Max
they were
Strus.
gifted. Yeah, that Max Strus didn't box out, but also the Celtics were gifted an extra second on the clock, and if that wasn't there, series is over.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I really Jimmy deserves a lot of credit. I hope as a whole people see like what a superstar Jimmy is now. Um, but if they haven't already, I don't know how they will. This isn't the first year he's done something like this.
No, and this isn't
But
his better finals performance either.
no, he low key choked. He had 13 in the fourth. It should have been 10. He shouldn't have had those 3 free throws. But what did he have for the game?
21, I think.
21. So 21 points, not a bad game at all.
No, a
But
bad
you're really
shooting
looking,
percentage.
yeah, the efficiency, and then also some of the turnovers.
One turnover,
Um,
just the KCP one.
some of like the team turnovers as a
Gotcha.
whole. Um,
Well, that's the thing, bro. The Heat really weren't turning it over. And then just in the
they're
very
just
last,
costly
yeah,
possessions,
it's
though.
just bad timing with the turnovers. But no, I mean, as it's in terms of where Jimmy is right now in the NBA and where he'll be when it's all said and done, obviously a championship would have meant a lot
It would have
to him.
solidified what I think of him.
Yeah, it would have meant a lot to his legacy. But I'm happy. I can rest happy knowing this. I think at least 99% of people know that Jimmy Butler is better than Paul George, which makes me so happy because that was a
And
debate
Kawhi.
when Jimmy was in Chicago. Did you say Kawhi?
Mhm.
Okay, this guy. Um, we see that Jimmy was never the problem in any of his previous teams.
Agree.
And
Agree.
if he's with another player who can score whenever the game calls for someone to get a bucket, he can easily pick up that championship before it's all said and done. He is getting older. He'll be 34 going into next season, but he's in phenomenal shape.
So who
Even
out
if
of
he
the
is hurt. He
who out of
said,
this? Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say respect to him for not using his ankle as an excuse.
Absolutely.
Obviously he was messed up. Like that's you can see that whenever he played. He didn't have the lift, he didn't have the speed, but he never said that before the finals or after. And he said, credit to the Nuggets. They beat him,
Probably one of
which
the
is true.
most frustrating things in the world is watching these highly competitive guys that like talk about their integrity and that they're the GOAT and the king blame their losses on injuries. Um, even just a little bit. So seeing Jimmy say that was super cool. It's very Jimmy-esque. It's what you expect from a guy like that.
Yeah.
And
Very Heat culture.
it's why I respect Jimmy Butler and for things like that because he's gonna talk. He's gonna talk his shit. You can bleep that out if you need to. But he's also going to back it up. And if he doesn't, he's just gonna call it how it was. He's like, listen,
Yeah.
I talked, it didn't happen. It is
Yeah.
what it is.
That's like and he calls his shot, right? Because it was the same thing after his very short offseason with the COVID year, going into the playoffs against Milwaukee, that 2021 series. And afterwards he was like, yo, that's completely on me. I sucked. But then the
But it's
same
not.
thing on the opposite end, where it was like last year, game 7 against the Celtics. He was like, I know what I need to do to get better, and we'll be back in this position and we'll win. And they did. So Jimmy's class act,
Which
bro.
is
He's
so cool.
iconic. He's one of the
That's so
coolest
cool.
players to ever play the game.
I agree.
Like I heard someone say, I think it was Trey Kirby, maybe,
He
was
gives
like
me AI
Jimmy.
vibes, bro.
He kind of does, yeah. But Trey Kirby said he's similar to Joe Johnson, obviously better, but way cooler. And I was like, okay, I see that with obviously with way more playoff success.
I think if it wasn't such a like Oh, that's adorable. There was a rabbit chasing a little bird. Anyways, um, if it
Bambi.
was if it wasn't so like media heavy nowadays, and the teams are teams, and maybe he was in like stayed at one team in a better market, I think
If the
Jimmy
Bulls
is.
would have kept them.
If the Bulls would have kept him, Jimmy is very much like AI in my eyes. Not like playing style, but off the court, a little less like in your face about things than AI was. And now there's like a bunch of freedom of expression in the league, which was not a thing. They're trying to strip that away from AI. Um, and I'm not saying he's on the same level. AI is always going to be iconic, man. But Jimmy sort of reminds me, he just doesn't care. He doesn't care.
Yeah, he reminds me clearly not the same level, but he reminds me of Jordan in that way, where he's just like no nonsense about everything, you know.
My boy, real quick, my boy who went to the last game, he has the season tickets. Um, his girlfriend made him a shirt, and it's Jokic, and then it's a little baby with Jimmy Butler's face on it, and it says, "Who's your daddy?" Oh, it's so funny,
That's
man.
crazy, bro. Oh man,
You brought up Jordan, so I had to let you know.
yeah.
But
Uh,
he's a Celtics fan. I don't even know. Anyways,
that's stupid. It's the
yeah,
Celtics fans that are talking too. It's not
probably a
even the
little
Nuggets
probably a little
fans that are
spite in
talking.
there.
It's not the Nuggets fans that are talking about Jimmy. All the Nuggets fans are like, that was a good series. I'm glad we won. Celtics fans are talking crazy because their stars always go missing. So they wanted to bring it up. But I do believe that I have to tell you something, Trevor.
Okay.
Okay. Camera's on me. Nikola Jokic is better than Kawhi Leonard all time.
Oh wow. I don't think you guys know how much that means to me. I am so happy to hear that. This has been a couple years, but truly this whole season, this has been an argument.
And I
Um,
said if I said when
oh
Jokic
man,
wins his championship, then
I'm a tear
I
up.
will say it. And I'm a man of my word. So there you
I'm a
go.
tear up. Um, yes, he is. So
Yeah.
thank you
And
for finally
by the
admitting.
way, wearing our horses in honor of Jokic.
That's right, baby.
He just wants to go home to his horses.
Yeah, he wouldn't want us wearing Nuggets gear. He only likes his horses.
That's exactly
Um,
right.
real quick, is Jokic? How much time we got? Okay, my phone's about to die, so maybe like 30 seconds. Is Jokic top five center of all time?
I think he's right there. I think there's Kareem, Bill, Wilt, Shaq, Hakeem, and Jokic. You know, I don't really mind either way who you put at five.
Fair,
Right now, at 28 years old.
fair enough. No, I agree. I'm biased, so I could put him number four. Um, but that's because I have mixed feelings about Wilt, which is not a popular opinion, but it's just how I feel.
I think it's
Um,
more popular now.
hopefully. Um, yeah, I mean, Shaq, Kareem, Wilt, Jokic,
Bill
Hakeem,
Russell.
Bill Russell. Yeah, duh. I
Yeah.
literally have Bill. No particular order in that. But I could see Jokic 4 or 5. And then I
Yeah.
could see Jimmy top 100 players of all time too. I
Yeah.
just want to make that very clear.
For sure.
Um,
I think Jimmy definitely the third greatest Heat of all time. I think if he wins his by the time he's done in Miami, he could pass LeBron. I don't think he'll ever pass D Wade though.
and to be clear, folks, he means pass LeBron as one of the greatest
Miami
Heats
Heat.
ever.
Yeah, just Heat,
Not
not
players.
player. No.
As much as I'm not a fan of LeBron,
Unless Jimmy goes on a crazy tear and wins a ring every year till he retires, I don't think he will pass LeBron.
If he does that, he passes
He's the
everybody.
GOAT. All right. Well, congratulations to the Denver
Thank you,
Nuggets.
bro.
Congratulations to you. Congratulations to all the Nuggets fans who tuned
Yes.
in throughout the season. We are finally done talking about basketball. We might do one or two off-season free agency videos here and there, but let us know what you want us to talk about. I'm so excited to get back to music and other things like that. We have some fun things planned, and hopefully you're here for the ride with us. So appreciate y'all following us throughout the playoffs, and yeah, Trevor, anything that you like to say?
I'm gonna have to find something else to say. For now, go Nuggets, baby.
We went Nuggets. All right.
Let's
Peace
go.
out, everybody.
All right, peace.